All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. You know, I'm still constantly spending my time thinking about ways and means that we as a people can be freed from the obstacles and bondages and chains that society has put on us. As spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, my message has been and still is to remind you that we as human beings did not come to this earth to compete with one another about living or lifestyle. We, as the earth was designed to do specific things, so were we. We were designed to desire specific things and to have those specific things met. Resources were made available to us. And what those things might be come through our imagination, and our physical structure gives us the ability to create causal manifestation of those things. And not just one or two, but in such an abundance that none of us would have to suffer a lack thereof. When we think about housing, every individual on the face of the earth needs housing. In some countries, we find out that housing is really flourishing really quite well compared to the United States, especially when we have been convinced that we're the greatest nation on the face of the earth, that we got the best of everything, the best of governments, the best of societal structures, everything. We got the best. We are the greatest. We lie to ourselves about. But when we got a little information available to us and start doing our own research, we find out we are falling way behind. But my message is not about that. My message is to talk about basic human rights, basic rights as human beings. And they are, including, but not limited to, food and clothing and shelter and education and health care and transportation and all of those things that are essential for society to be progressive and to move forward. No, we are not having that. We're not experiencing that. And even in those countries where we are experiencing some of those benefits, there are others that we are still suffering. But what my message is to tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, that the power to make the changes is not in the government's hand. It is in you, the people. You, the people, get what you will accept. In America, we are going through stuff. I mean, major cities that, as I was growing up, were considered as being beautiful cities. Now they look like slums because we are greedy. We're concerned about this and we're concerned about that, but we're not concerned about people. All we're concerned about, one of the most major things, is getting money in our pocket. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, when the structure, when the designer propped and planned to make this earth, there were in place enough builders, enough carpenters, enough contractors that were selected out of the number of people that would be on this earth to provide housing for everybody everywhere. Just these people who do housing, to provide housing for everyone, but not only housing, anything that has got to be built, buildings, infrastructure, highways, bridges, whatever. That design is already made that we can have what we desire. And what would these builders, these contractors, what do they profit from doing all of that? Well, when they were in the capitalist system or any other system, what did they profit? They got money that allowed them to do this and allowed them to do that. The problem was they allowed some to do a lot of things and it allowed others to do a little or nothing. But the change, my friends, according to the divine plan, is that everybody can do what they want to do. This is why you work. It doesn't matter whether your dream says, here's a new idea that millions of people can work in, or whether you're one of those millions of people and your job is to clean the toilet. Doesn't make any difference. If the man who came up with the idea can do anything that he wants to in this society, he or she, then the man who's working and cleaning their ditches out and cleaning the toilets can do the same thing in the divine plan. And no one is talking about the divine plan. In fact, in the American government structure, you got runoffs going on. People vying to get the American people or the people of those particular states to send them back to Washington as representatives. Now they got one guy called Herschel Walker, a football player, well, an ex-football player, Heisman Trophy, that some people say was chosen to run as a black person to split the black vote in particular locations, well, just say Georgia. And the purpose, my friend, is to split the black vote. So white votes It's not to get Herschel. Well, now it is, now that he got that position. But to get him there, and the reason to get him there because they feel that he might not be that smart. They call him a buffoon. And that they get him in there, he'll do exactly what the Republicans want him to do. And that's not to serve any idea or need of the people, but what they design. And so they call him a buffoon, especially the Democrats say we don't want him in there because we know that's what they'll do. And I listen at that. And I'm thinking about, I used to be a preacher, and I would remember that the people would come to me and they would ask me to pray for them, to send up prayers to heaven for them about problems that they experience in life. And these are the same problems that are associated with the basic human rights. So when I take it to the master tells me to bring it back and tell them that the problem is in their hands. They can fix it. They can fix it. So stop asking heaven to fix what you can fix. So I come back and I tell the people what the message is, and they don't want to accept it. So what I do is to inform them that I am accurate. Not only that, I run for public office so that I can uplift and shout out from the mountaintops about heaven on earth, peace and prosperity and freedom and joy. Yes, and to assure the people that I'm not a buffoon, I go and commit a crime. A crime against the state of Minnesota. And what's the purpose? The purpose is to get attention. What kind of attention? Attention from the public to say that I got a message that I want to share with you. And if I have to get you together by committing this crime, so you can come to court and hear what I got to say, or if you don't come to court, at least you can find out later because you can read the court records. And so I committed the crime. Did the people come? No, the people didn't come. Were the records made? Very little, because the judge would not permit my defense. My defense is that God has put me on a plan to save America. To what I mean by save America, to free America from this bondage. So I couldn't say all that stuff, but I got a chance to at least stand up. And what was that standing up for? So that even at this date, 10, 15, 20, maybe 20 years later, I can still refer back to that. You know, another candidate that cared about you so much, that had a message that was so promising, that they would commit a crime to get attention, to tell you, knowing that if you accepted it, we can change and start living as though we're in heaven. And if you don't accept it, I got to go to jail. Well, I did. Why? Because the benefits were worth it. The benefits were worth it. If you had changed, great. Since you didn't change, the message is still there. I didn't change. So it's still great. It's still fantastic. So when I'm saying, when people call Herschel Walker a buffoon, and then somebody come back and tell you that all your dreams could be met by doing a certain thing, and you close your ears up, you don't want to hear a thing, no media source will tell you one thing, and you rejected all that you've been praying for, and the answer come back and you reject it, and having rejected the answer to your prayers, you come back and bring in the greatest buffoon we've ever known in this country, Donald Trump. And look what has happened to this nation because of that. And you want to talk about Herschel Walker? Well, what you're saying about Herschel Walker just might be true. I don't know. I just know what I've been hearing. But I do know how you've responded. And I know that. I've seen that. I've observed that. Just like we observed the lies of Donald Trump's tales, I've observed the American people reject peace and prosperity for everybody, for greed and ugliness. Even though it causes lying and cheating and hatred and racism, you still accept the system. But you do it because you don't know better. And since my mission is to educate you, I got to understand that you don't know better. And no need of me getting frustrated. Just like a kid that's going to school. Some of them can pick it up right away. Some of them, boy, they just seem like they can't get it. And why they can't get it is because of how they've been taught, how they were raised, what they had to go through in the beginning. And so that's the way the society is all over the world. However, I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, as I close, God is still the answer. And God's got it set up so that you would never have to worry about food, clothing, shelter, education, or health care. Just got a plan that you implement. And what is that plan? Is that you turn your faith and trust in God that you can't see, but allow that God to live in you that you do see. And you don't have to worry about the Republicans and the Democrats. You don't have to worry about the Donald Trumps and the Lakes and all of these people who hate. You don't have to worry about them anymore. Why? Because you set up systems that protect systems from evil. Well, I think I'll stop there.